Thursday night football. The Cincinnati Bengals are on the road to take on the Baltimore Ravens. My two favorite picks are on the way, including a 1.5 unit play, which we will touch on in a little bit. What's going on? My name's Austin from Calling Our Shot. Before we dive in, let's recap how we did in week 10 as we were on to week 11. It was a profitable week, a 6-4 week. We ended on Monday Night Football with a 1-1 day. Nothing much we could do there, but a 6-4 week, up a little over a unit. We'll take that. Let's try to get a third straight winning week and hopefully a massive week this week. We are certainly due one of those. So if you are new, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, drop a like down below. And if you want to let me know what you guys are betting on for this game, I obviously do. And it's finally, it feels like the first time we've had actually a good Thursday night football games in what feels like over a month. But this one should set up to be a pretty good one. And right now, Sleeper has a pretty good offer for you guys. It is a free square for Lamar Jackson to just get one passing yard. Look, I don't know. Lamar Jackson, we know he's getting one passing yard. That is only available for new users that sign up using our code COS or the top link in description. We love Sleeper. They also have a Joe Burrow discount for everyone out there where they discount his yards by about 40 passing yards. So definitely take advantage of that if you want to. But without further ado, let's dive into the picks today. The first one is going to be a Cincinnati Bengal, probably and the guy that a lot of people won't be on, but we certainly will because he's cashing for us. His name is Tanner Hudson, over 21.5 receiving yards, minus 115 on BetMGM. Now, personally, like I said, I do not envision this line moving a ton. I don't think it goes higher than 23.5, and I'd play it there. But if you don't know anything about Hudson, well, I'll fill you in on exactly who this guy is and why I think he has a pretty good night on Thursday Night Football. Now, Hudson actually has shown a good rapport with Joe Burrow so far this season, and he hasn't played a lot of games. This is the guy that's been on their practice squad a lot. When they have injuries like they do tonight, they'll call him up, and then he plays a lot of minutes. But let's talk about and a lot of snaps. But Hudson has played in 4 games so far this season. Like I said, he gets called up randomly. In those games, we've seen him play 47, 43, 23, and 31% of the snaps. In those 4 games, you've seen him end with 30, 18, 45, and 33 receiving yards, going over that line in the last 2 games when they've called him up and needed him a lot. And we look at this guy, like I said, I'm not projecting that Hudson plays 80% of the snaps randomly. He's not going to play a ton of snaps, but I think he's going to be useful and efficient in those snaps if he's out there. And since being called up from the practice squad a couple weeks ago, Hudson, 4 receptions for 45 yards, and then 6 receptions for 33 yards last week. So you see Joe Burrow targeting him, and I wouldn't be surprised if they target him again tonight as T. Higgins is out, and they also are missing this guy. I will butcher his name, Andrea Ayayof. If you want to look it up, I don't know how to pronounce his name. I butchered that, but he's also out. He played about 28-30% of snaps last week. So that's a team down on playmakers. Sure, they got Jamar Chase. He'll get the ball. Tyler Boyd too, but outside of those guys, Trenton Irwin, he'll be their third wide receiver, but they kind of need guys out there that can catch the football. We've seen Tanner Hudson show good rapport so far with Joe Burrow. And look, while you look at Hudson, he is technically listed as a tight end 3. That's not really how the Bengals use him a lot. You look at Drew Sample and Irv Smith, the 2 guys in front of him, and they also have Mitch Wilcox, who's kind of their fourth string guy. Hudson's out there to catch the football. He's not blocking guys. This season, we've seen Hudson run 78 routes, 18 targets. That's a 23% target share. Irv Smith, on the other hand, who's been on the team and on the depth chart the whole year, ran 169 routes, only 20 targets at 11.8%. So at the end of the day, Tanner Hudson's out there to catch passes, which is what we are paying him to do, what we need him to get done. And Irv Smith, you look at this guy, 121 of his 238 snaps, nearly over 50%, are as a tight end right next to the line of scrimmage, maybe chipping on guys. You look at Drew Sample, 154 of his 176 snaps are as a tight end. Mitch Wilcox, 96 of the 106 are as a tight end right next to the line of scrimmage. As for Hudson, only 24 of his 94 snaps this season have been as a traditional tight end. What that tells me is they're not really using him as a tight end. He's most basically a slot receiver, which is kind of what we need him for. We don't need him to be blocking guys. We want him going out there running routes, and as a 6'5", 240 guy, Joe Burrow might throw one up to him if he's got a one-on-one on one of these Ravens linebackers. I also like this matchup against the Ravens, who have not necessarily defended tight ends all too well the past couple weeks. So I really do like Tanner Hudson. He's not going to be bet on by a lot of people. You probably don't hear his name more than just on this video, but I really do like him. Tanner Hudson, we like his over 21.5 receiving yards. Then my second play is going to be the 1.5 unit play. It's a little bit different than what you would expect. It is a 3-leg same-game parlay. I'm going to give some pivots if you're on different apps. Let's talk about it. We're doing Tyler Boyd to get 3 receptions and 25 receiving yards. Those are 2 legs. The third leg, Mark Andrews, 4+ receptions. Now, if I didn't say that, 3 receptions from Tyler Boyd, 25 receiving yards from Tyler Boyd, and 4 receptions from Mark Andrews. Now, for the people out there that are looking maybe on FanDuel, if I were you, if on FanDuel, I would take probably Boyd 25+ and Andrews 4+ receptions, lay 1.5 units on that. You're good. Now, if you want it, because they don't have an alt receptions line as I record this, but I really do like Andrews at 40+ receiving yards for the people out there that want to take that maybe on a DraftKings. Also, Really like Lamar Jackson, 25 plus rushing yards. So I think there's a bunch of different options you can get here that have a pretty good hit rate. And I really like this one. Originally, I was doing the write up for Mark Andrews, 4 receptions and 25 plus receiving yards for Tyler Boyd, but I tacked on 3 receptions to move it from minus 110 to plus 110. I think it's worth it there. I just don't see Tyler Boyd getting 25 receiving yards without also getting 3 receptions. But let's dive into so far this season while we're talking about Mark Andrews first. And in 9 games this year, he did enter with a little bit of an injury. Andrews, 4 receptions in 8 of 9 games, including 5 for Cincinnati in his first week back in week 2. Now, he only did see 2 receptions last week, so a down week for him on 4 targets. That was against the Cleveland Browns defense that we know has been really, really good this season, especially against tight ends, whereas the Bengals really have not been that great. We've seen them kind of get used and abused by opposing QBs the last few weeks. And you look at last week, the Ravens also only ran 50 plays as a team. If you're like 50 plays, that feels like a lot, Austin. Well, the lowest in the NFL this season average-wise is 58. So they ran 8 fewer plays than the lowest team in the NFL. So, I think they get back to running the normal amount of plays. This is a Bengals team I just don't trust to consistently milk the clock. They always are throwing the football. So, I think Andrews can secure his 4 receptions. You saw last week, Dalton Schultz did that against Cincinnati with 4. The week before, Dalton Kincaid had 10 receptions. The week before that, 9 for George Kittle. Andrews, 4 receptions and 7 of his last 8 for Cincinnati. You can see why I like his receiving yards too, but I also like the receptions. The 4.5 receptions line, there's a lot of games you see Andrews end on 4 on the dot, so it's a little bit sketchy to taking the 4 plus, but I really like when at least get 4, or taking the over 4.5. So I really like Andrews. I think this is a great matchup to back him. Now, as for the second leg, we got to talk about Tyler Boyd and why we're backing him for 3 receptions and 25 receiving yards, something he has done in not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, 8 straight games, including 6 for 52 in week 2 versus the Baltimore Ravens. And as I talked about with the Tanner Hudson analysis, the Bengals are down T. Higgins and their backup wide receivers that they won't even try to pronounce his name. So this is a team that kind of needs guys out there to catch the football. And the Ravens, after getting used and abused by Jamar Chase, I believe 2 or 3 years back, they've made a concerted effort to slow him down. And this is a Ravens secondary that I think is pretty decent. They're going to try their best to slow down Jamar Chase, especially with T. Higgins on the other side, probably getting two people on Jamar Chase all game long. So I think the other guys are going to have to step up, and Tyler Boyd's been a guy that has done that. And you look at him, he's done it especially against the Baltimore Ravens, even with T. Higgins and Jamar Chase active. Tyler Boyd, 3 receptions and 25 yards, 5 straight games versus Baltimore. He had 51 and 52 in their last 2 games on 5 and 6 receptions. I strongly considered taking Tyler Boyd's over in receptions at 4.5 for plus money, but I think obviously this is the safer way to play it, which is why I'm putting 1.5 units on this. I really like these 2 guys tonight. I didn't really want to put a unit on each of them separately, whether it was their receptions or the receiving yards. I think they're both in for pretty good games, pretty good matchups against their respective, matchup tonight, whether it's the Bengals secondary or the Ravens secondary. I like both these 2 guys to do their thing and get to what they normally do. I think they have a great chance of hitting the regular lines, but I think this is the easiest way to play it. So like I said, a 3-leg same game parlay, 1.5 units on Tyler Boyd, 3 receptions, Tyler Boyd, 25 plus receiving yards, and Mark Andrews, 4 plus receptions at plus 110. I don't think this should be plus money. I will happily put 1.5 units and hopefully cash this, build up our bankroll, and get back into the positives in the NFL like you guys are known and accustomed to seeing from here. But a final reminder, Sleeper still has that free square for Lamar Jackson to get just 1 yard plus that Joe Burrow discount for him to get, I think, 218.5 passing yards. Let's have a wonderful Thursday Night Football. Let's enter, this next week with a 2-0 card, and then we will move on and hopefully dominate on Sunday with some more videos. As always, I appreciate you guys for watching the videos. This name's Austin, and we're going to be signing out. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.